All right, hello, welcome to this video. I figured we would talk about Channel 12 again, missing some important news today. Again, well, now they're covering some news on the website, but earlier they were all over this. 2 minutes and 31 seconds on this nonsense.
12, we begin with a COVID-19 alert.
They just won't let it down. They're the only station that does these alerts.
You're probably not going to give
because we got COVID.
So it's just, I mean, they're in their own world. Of course, they're over here. South Shore again. Long Beach. What else is new? Right after that story, they go into this story.
The team Laser LaPena played alongside just months ago. 12 for.
There's a big turnout for today's Long Beach Little League Championship.
Long Beach, of course. Now, if the kid was in the middle of the island, they wouldn't care. You know it. You know it. You know it. So there was a big fire in Roslyn this evening. I'm surprised they actually did cover this.
Alarm fire destroys a home, leaving a family to pick up the pieces and to mourn the loss of a pet. News 12's Andrew Enger has the story for us from Roslyn. Andrew?
At least they covered this. Did something
well,
right
there's
today.
not much left of this home here on Jefferson Avenue in Roslyn. In fact, we're assuming it will be boarded up relatively soon here. Now, we're less than half a block away from the LIE. We're told that the smoke from this fire could be seen for miles. Now, there was one person inside the house at the time of the fire. That person, we're told, got out okay. However, one dog has been pronounced dead and another is missing and feared dead.
Really bad fire.
Firefighters say the flames were shooting up the side of the house when they arrived at this single-family home on Jefferson Avenue in Roslyn at 6 p.m. tonight. The flames moving so fast, it was quickly upgraded to a second, then a third alarm fire. Fire officials say one person was in the home at the time and was able to get out safely. However, a dog died in the fire, and another is listed as missing and feared dead.
It's awful. We got to just lift them up in prayer. Roslyn, the community, surround yourself around them because they lost the house and dog.
17 departments responded to the fire, which officials say took about 90 minutes to put out. The home, they say, is a complete loss. Firefighters say today's gusty winds contributed to the high volume of fire and spread it quickly.
The high winds definitely played a factor, as the chief had stated. They had some high winds blowing right down this hill. Thankfully, it didn't catch fire to any other structures in the vicinity. Fire department did a great job of holding the fire to the house of origin.
Now, that wind was pretty serious here this evening. In fact, it's still windy right now. And firefighters tell me that luckily the building here is far enough away from other structures here that the wind was not able to blow the fire and catch other nearby structures on fire. So they're very thankful for that. We're in Roslyn. Andrew Enger, News.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad fire right there that happened. At least they did cover that. I'll give them credit for that. But the rest of everything else, they really did not do such a good job with. Yep, Freeport, South Shore again. What else is new? Let's see. Rockville Center. Yep, there you are, Rockville Center. It's always the South Shore. All right, that's yesterday's news already. So we kind of went bad. They really didn't cover too much, and they missed some crime going on, and we still never heard about this Hempstead thing. There were two things that only Laura Uhle reported on, and one of this was the heavy police activity in Hempstead. This was from June 15th. Suspects fired bullets at police. Ormond Street, Lincoln Boulevard, and vicinity is closed. Multiple suspects in custody. Nassau County Police precincts, other police officers from other precincts are responding. And if we go to maps here and look at where this was, and it did happen because there were a bunch of police there. I mean, I have a photo of it. Passed by on the bus, Lincoln Boulevard. They had this all closed off over here. I was on the N15 and they had this all blocked off over here. They had Clinton Street open, but all these streets over here were blocked off. All right, so something happened here, but it's completely brushed aside by the news. And let's get to the next thing that is being brushed aside by the news, and that is what's happening in Syosset. And this is from social media. All right. Again, nothing in the news about this. At approximately 1:15 a.m. this morning, June 15th, walking through town in Syosset near the railroad, 4 to 5 teenagers are escaped again. They escaped basically from that Mercy First facility. They're going to organize a community protest. All right. People there are, people in Syosset are not happy about this, but they're trying to redline Syosset because, again, it's part of the plan to redline Syosset and move these problems in. And here's another post. News 12 is not reporting correctly. Mercy First is not closing their doors. They are just ending the foster care program. And that's funny. It's just one program there. They're still going to be continuing Raise the Age program. They're still going to continue that. It takes in 16 and 17-year-olds who are accused of committing a felony-level crime. Mercy First still needs to be responsible to the community. Explain how they will end 452 service calls in 1 year to their facility and how to handle 222 runaways in 1 year. This is all a drain on our police department. So, again, it's being put in Syosset because Syosset is being redlined, or they're trying to redline it. They're trying to redline it, all right? It's interesting that Joe Salino is nowhere to be found once again. I'm sure if this was happening in Massapequa, well, it wouldn't be. They wouldn't put a place like that there. It's put in the middle of the island. All right? There was a group, and there was another report here. A group of kids that from Mercy First that were apprehended before being able to break into new businesses. The security guard that was hired was sleeping while this was going on. Almost the entire second precinct was dealing with this situation. So these are all posts on social media going on in Syosset right now with this Mercy First facility. So you're having kids escape on almost a daily basis from this place. And the State Department of Mental Health, whoever oversees these, they don't care. They're not doing a thing about it. There's no security here. There is no security at this place. This is where it is, right here on Convent Road. All right? You think, Syosset's a wealthy area. They can't do it. It's not white enough anymore. And once an area isn't white enough anymore, the problems get moved in. And yes, this place has been operating for a long time. Why has this been going on just the past 3 or 4 years with these? Because they're moving the problems in. First they move them in there, then people sell their homes, they turn them into illegal rentals and move more problems in. It's a vicious cycle. That's how Syosset's going to go. That's going to be the downfall of Syosset. It's going to get redlined if people don't stop it. But again, this is all part of a bigger plan, as you know, to redline a lot of Long Island. There are only going to be a few select areas that are going to be safe. Mainly on the South Shore, some on the North Shore, but they're all going to be mainly lily white towns full of financial professionals that if you're not one of that demographic, you're not going to be able to get in there. That's how the plan works. News 12 on their Facebook, not really, again, just all over the pandemic. Pandemic, politics. They're not interested in crime. And in fact, there's a story that they reported on KTU4. Let me guess. This is on the South Shore. I'm going to just take a wild guess. This is also on the South Shore. Jones Beach Theater, of course. What else is new? It's also on the South Shore. There is something in here that they buried. They don't even have it in here. They do not have it in here. There was an arrest in Valley Stream, and it's not even on the website. Well, isn't that nice? They also didn't cover this either. Man found critically injured in East Patchogue. Police are investigating the circumstances after a man was found critically injured on Long Island. Suffolk County Police 5th Precinct officers responded to a 911 call of a man found on the ground in East Patchogue at approximately in the parking lot of 770 Montauk Highway on July 17th at approximately 12 a.m. Friday, June 17th. It was determined that the man suffered a head injury. He is in critical condition. He's being described as Hispanic, 30 to 40 years old, between 5'2" and 5'4", and 130 pounds with thick black hair. So we don't know why this man was attacked. We don't know if it was an attempted robbery. This is not in the enclave part of Patchogue, so I'll show you where that is. That is not a once you get past the village here. Once you get past this area right here, it becomes a ghetto pretty quick. And I'm pretty sure Apple Greens. This is where it was right here, right by the Lowe's. This is not a nice area at all. This is not a nice area at all. That they put a lot of homeless people living around here too, by the way. So this is where they put a lot of the problems again. So you have the enclave area of Patchogue, and then as you go East Patchogue, which isn't the village, it's more like North Bellport, where that man was shot to death, which was quickly buried in the news as well. They're not interested in reporting on the crime. Talk about another one here. Shots fired at Riverhead Home Depot twice in a 4-day span. Oh my, Riverhead Home twice in a 4-day span, not Home Depot, my mistake. But still, I mean, again, this should be being covered by... Where's the news? No, only Daily Voice has it. Police are investigating after shots were fired at a Long Island home twice in a 4-day span. The latest incident in Riverhead happened around 2 a.m. Saturday, June 18th. The Riverhead is getting very dangerous, too, Riverhead is one of those areas that, in the middle of the island are the Pine Barrens. It's not going to be safe to go to the Pine Barrens there. They were called to respond to a residence located on Wilson Avenue for a report of a disturbance involving multiple gunshots. Upon the arrival of patrol division units, it was discovered that multiple gunshots struck the residence. Initial interviews of witnesses revealed that a vehicle of an unknown make, model, or registration stopped in front of the home, and occupants of the vehicle began to fire gunshots at the residence. During the course of the Riverhead PD Detective Division investigation, it was also learned that an additional incident involving gunshots being fired at the same residence also occurred on Wednesday, June 15th, but that was not reported to the police. No injuries were reported in the prior incident as well, but there was also reported damage to the residence and to a vehicle parked at the location as a result of the prior shooting, separate from the most recent reported shooting. Both shootings are under investigation. I'm pretty sure that's... I'm going to look on the map right now. I don't think that's considered... Well, at least I didn't think that was a bad part of Riverhead, but let's find it on the map, because I'm pretty sure this is up by here. Could be wrong. Let's see. Could be wrong. I'll Google it here. Yeah, maybe I could be wrong. What? Wilson Boulevard, what is it? Wilson Avenue, Riverhead. Okay. Still, that is kind of a bad... That's toward the east side, so yeah. This is kind of a bad area over here in Riverhead. So, I guess it is. I thought it was... I must be mixing it up. I thought it was one of the streets that came off Pulaski. But still, there's been a lot of crime going on in Riverhead lately, too. And look at all the development, too. It's only gotten worse. They think building all this stuff is going to make the crime go away. It's only getting worse. It's pretty unbelievable. Well, we got another one here. How about a woman and her son nabbed after an attempted robbery outside a Long Island Walmart? A woman and a teenage boy have been charged. This is the story that Channel 12 spent 15 seconds on and barely covered. A woman and a teenage boy have been charged in connection to an attempted robbery outside a Long Island Walmart. It happened Friday, June 17th at 8:05 a.m. in Valley Stream. According to the Nassau County Police Robbery Squad detectives, a 47-year-old man was in the driver's seat of a 2016 Volkswagen in the parking lot of Walmart located at 77 Green Acres Road. An unknown male approached the driver, displayed what appeared to be a handgun, and ordered the victim out of the vehicle. At the same time, an unknown female approached the passenger side of the vehicle. The victim refused to comply, pulled his vehicle forward, and notified police. The subjects fled on foot. A short time later, a 16-year-old boy and Isabel Macapia, age 18 of Queens Village, were arrested without incident. Again, they're from New York City. Both were charged with second-degree attempted robbery and are scheduled to be arraigned on Saturday, June 18th. And we don't know if they were let out or not. But yeah, a mother and son. How do you like that? A mother and son robbery team. Raising the kid up right to do crime. That's lovely. That's just real. It's just, this is what's going on in New York. This is what is going on in New York. And we still never heard about that Manhasset, the robbery at the Manhasset. That was buried too, the robbery at the Manhasset train station that Laura Uhle reported on. There's so much stuff going on that's just getting buried by the news. They don't want, the news is really, they're almost in bed with Hochul at this point. It's so obvious, and this is where we're going to come to this now. We're going to go over to this story here with NBC New York here, and this This is about the last debate, which we're going to cover more in detail, but I want to play this for you. This was the most recent debate here on Channel 4 on the race for governor here on the Democratic side here. And again, Hochul is just an unbelievably nasty, snobby, mean woman. And we're going to see exactly how she behaves here. I'm sure she's, I haven't watched yet, but we're going to see some of the clips here from this.
The three Democrats in the race facing off for the final time before the June 28th primary.
Tonight, right here at 30 Rock, I, along with fellow moderators, asked the candidates about issues on the minds of New Yorkers. News 4's Adam Harding has the highlights. Adam?
And there were certainly a whole lot of topics discussed tonight in that debate. The candidates talked guns, public safety, taxes, the economy, the pandemic, and they even took a few swipes at each other.
On Channel 4.
The final debate ahead of early voting. Three Democrats sharing the stage. Long Island Congressman Tom Suozzi quick to take shots at Governor Hochul when talking guns.
You were endorsed by the NRA. You took money from the NRA.
That's right.
It's the facts of the matter. I know you want to slough it off.
Excuse me. It's my turn to answer the question.
Go right ahead. We've been waiting months for you to answer this question.
Please stop interrupting me. The people want to hear my answer, which is I've addressed this. That attack is over a decade ago.
Their back and forth did not stop there. When asked whether school districts should be required to teach elementary students about sexual orientation and gender identity, more fireworks.
She said that I support the Don't Say Gay law, which is, she knows, 100% Governor, you know, Governor.
Look at her face.
You know that that's not true.
The governor admitting her biggest mistake centers on her now former lieutenant governor.
The governor's first pick for lieutenant governor was arrested for bribery and corruption. The first decision she made 100% on her own, despite scandals swirling about him, she picked him.
You're under investigation for past violations as well as a new investigation. So you're not really in a position to lecture anybody about ethics.
Between the two, New York City public advocate Jumaane Williams, who touched on his economic vision.
We have the highest cost of living. We do have high taxes, but it's unequitable. We have to reduce the tax burden on middle class, working and struggling, and lift it higher on those who are more wealthy.
And the group highlighted public transportation concerns amid growing fears of the conditions underground.
I was in the street trying to address this violence, and what we said each time when the violence happened is that simply adding police wouldn't help.
People are not safer. Under this administration, they are not safer. They don't feel safe.
Exactly.
And the governor has not made crime a priority.
Subway safety is paramount to giving people that sense of security as well as getting them back to their jobs.
The candidates were also asked about former Governor Andrew Cuomo and whether they would accept his endorsement.
Yes, I would accept his endorsement. I think that he's still very popular among a lot of people in New York State.
Would you accept the former governor?
I would not. And when I ran for lieutenant governor, I made it clear the damage that this governor was doing.
No, I would not, because the people of this state want us to look forward and not backward.
All of this is early voting set to begin this weekend, primary Tuesday, the 28th of June. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
Of course, we all know that Hochul is way ahead in the polls. We all know that.
Millions of Americans will mark Juneteenth this weekend. But in Newark, the celebration was today, and it came with calls for compensation for the unpaid labor.
So, here we go. More crime in the city. It keeps going. There's more stories in the primary. What we learned in the Democratic debate. Here's the Gothamist. Let's see if we can read this one here. What we learned in the final Democratic debate. It was a little more than halfway through the final New York Democratic gubernatorial debate Thursday night, and Tom Suozzi was trying to get Kathy Hochul's attention. Suozzi, a congressman from Long Island, wasn't pleased. Hochul claimed he supported Florida's Don't Say Gay law, so he tried to get a look at him as he responded from two lecterns away. Governor, Governor. Yeah. You know that's not true. And Hochul barely glanced in his direction. So this just goes to show you how much of a snob she is. She is worse than Cuomo. She is way worse than Cuomo. She's just mean, a snob, and maybe she's like Cuomo in a lot of ways, but she is like Cuomo, but worse. So getting back to the article here, it says the tense exchange was the most outward display of the candidates' strategies. with Hochul largely declining to directly engage with her primary opponents, Suozzi and New York City public advocate Jumaane Williams, as they criticized her record on guns, the Buffalo Bills stadium deal, climate change, and other topics. NBC New York, Telemundo 47, and the Times Union of Albany co-hosted the debate at a studio in Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. It was the second debate featuring the three Democratic candidates ahead of the June 28th primary. Hochul declined to participate in the first debate. The moderators started by asking each candidate for a 30-second elevator pitch to a specific type of New Yorker, with NBC New York reporter Melissa Russo asking Suozzi to respond to a parent worried about the financial situation as the price of gas and goods increased. Suozzi spoke to the need for quality elected officials during the affordability crisis before reiterating his campaign themes. "I'm a proven executive who knows how to get things done in government," he said. "I'm a common-sense Democrat. I'm not going to pan to the left. I'm not going to back down to the right." Times Union editor Casey Seller asked Hochul to frame her response to a salon owner in Midtown who worries about the future of their business when they heard the governor suggest office workers aren't coming back post-pandemic. "I tell her, as I've told many New Yorkers, don't bet against New York," she said. "We've been down before. We always come back stronger." Hochul added, "I didn't say they're not coming back. I want them to come back. They may not come back 5 days a week, but we want them back 3 or 4 days." Telemundo's Andrea Allen Villanueva, I can't pronounce that name very well. I asked Williams, who is challenging Hochul from her left, to speak to someone considering leaving the state because of high taxes and crime. "I'm asking New Yorkers to move in a new direction, to have a new start coming out of this pandemic, to hire a new governor," Williams said. Suozzi, in particular, took a more aggressive tack with Hochul than the last week's debate on WCBS TV, again criticizing her for her prior support from the National Rifle Association when she represented Western New York in Congress a decade ago. Hochul voted with the NRA, was endorsed by the NRA, and took money from the NRA. She says she's evolved. She didn't evolve after Columbine. She didn't evolve after Virginia Tech, Suozzi said, referring to the 2007 mass shooting on the Virginia Tech campus that killed 32 people. Hochul started to respond to Suozzi's attacks. Suozzi then spoke over Hochul, taking issue with her characterizing his criticism as an attack. "Please stop interrupting me," Hochul said as Suozzi spoke. "The people want to hear my answer." Hochul's evolution on guns. She recently signed a suite of 10 gun control bills into law, was the point of criticism from Williams, too. He took issue with Hochul and other politicians focusing too much on mass shootings and not enough on everyday street violence in the Bronx or elsewhere. And this is exactly my point. You know, just like Channel 12, they'll cover the mass shootings, but when it comes to the street crime, they ignore it. Again, because a certain demographic is interested in those mass shootings, but not interested in the daily crime. Because you got to remember, a certain demographic, they're not in those neighborhoods where the street violence is. They're in their enclaves. When Williams spoke of Hochul's past position on guns, Russo jumped in and asked Williams about Williams' own evolution in issues like abortion and LGBTQ rights. Williams took issue with the idea that he had an evolution on abortion, but he said his situation is different from Hochul's. There's a difference between saying something wrong and working always like I did to make sure that the LGBT community had rights they need, and making sure that women and pregnant people had abortion rights, and are actively working against New Yorkers, actively working for the NRA, Williams said. Hochul allowed for 2 opportunities to directly knock Suozzi. The first came with the exchange over the Florida law, which prohibits teaching students in kindergarten through 3rd grade about sexual orientation and gender identity. She accused Suozzi of supporting that law, a reference to Suozzi's prior comments that some parts of the law were reasonable and or common sense. Suozzi later said he opposes the law full stop and that his prior comments were inartful. The second came when Hochul brought up an ongoing investigation by the House Ethics Committee into whether Suozzi properly disclosed his stock transactions, which Suozzi has characterized as a paperwork issue. Towards the end of the debate, the candidates were asked a handful of more lighthearted questions, including one that has perplexed New Yorkers for generations. Where's the dividing line for upstate and downstate New York? Suozzi said upstate is anything north of Rockland and Putnam counties. Hochul said it's Westchester County's northern border. Williams joked that upstate is a direction, claiming someone in Brooklyn considered the Bronx upstate before giving his real answer, anything north of Poughkeepsie. So here's the article. And again, not too much of a mention of crime. I have to watch the debate. Seriously, the media just doesn't really want to focus on the crime because the media gears to the certain demographic kind of people. This is another article here about Hochul and Zeldin lead double-digit leads in New York governor primary. This really upset me a great deal that the two most arrogant candidates on both sides of the aisle hold leads. It kind of just tells you something about the kind of people that you have living in New York, that they would choose such arrogant people even after these debates. It says, so we're going to read this article too, and then I'll start to wrap up this video here. But Governor Kathy Hochul and Representative Lee Zeldin hold double-digit leads in their parties' respective New York gubernatorial primaries, according to an Emerson College polling Pix 11, The Hill poll released Monday. Hochul, who replaced former Governor Andrew Cuomo last year after he resigned in disgrace, leads the field with 57% of support among very likely Democratic primary voters. Representative Tom Suozzi follows with 17% in New York City public advocate. Jumaane Williams comes in third with 6%, and another 20% say that they are undecided. Of those who say they are undecided, 42% lead toward Suozzi, while 32% lead toward Hochul and 26% lead toward Williams. On the Republican side, Zeldin leads the field with 34%. You notice how the Republican voters seem like a lot less enthralled with Zeldin. It seems like the Democrats in the state seem to be, I don't know what's going on with Democrats in the state right now. I don't know what they're smoking. I guess they're smoking too much weed or they're drinking too much wine. On the Republican side, Zeldin leads the field with 34% support among very likely GOP primary voters. He is trailed by former Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino with 16%, businessman Harry Wilson at 15%, and Andrew Giuliani, the son of Mayor Rudy Giuliani, with 13%. Of the undecided voters, 30% lead toward Astorino, 29% lead toward Zeldin, 21% each lean toward Wilson and Giuliani. Both primaries will be held on June 28th. Republicans boast that this year presents a unique opportunity to flip New York's gubernatorial mansion, given a GOP-friendly political atmosphere driven by President Biden's low approval ratings and alarm over rising violent crime, particularly in New York City. Still, Republicans face headwinds in unseating Hochul, who represents one of the bluest states in the nation and is stacked up with tens of millions of dollars in her war chest. Again, the Wall Street-funded candidate. It's plainly obvious there. The Emerson College polling Pix 11, The Hill, surveyed 500 very likely Democratic primary voters and 500 very likely GOP primary voters from June 9 to 10th. Each sample has a margin of error of 4.3 percentage points. However, this is one poll, and the poll that counts is the one that really matters, and that's going to be the primary itself. But it's clear that Hochul is absolutely terrible, and she came across again as extremely arrogant and snobby once again. And God help us if she becomes the governor. If we have a Hochul versus Zeldin, I can't stand either one of them, to be honest with you. Zeldin is a Trumper. I cannot support a Trumper. But at the same time, she is going to really make it worse. I mean, he's slightly better than she is, and that's not saying much. I mean, seriously. But this is what we deal with in New York. Meanwhile, we have our quality of life issues. We have our quality of life issues here in Mineola today. I think these people just got out of jail. This guy's got a clear plastic bag. This is what they're letting out in our community. This is what they're letting out in our community, folks. So, again, this is what you get here if you're living in a diverse area. But if you're living in a lily white neighborhood like Wanto, well, it's all peaches and cream. Look at how clean that platform is. My gosh, they power wash that every day just because it's only the best for these people, because they're all white. They're all white. And they're all finance professionals or sons and daughters of finance professionals, so they get the best of everything while the rest of us get treated like crap. And if you don't like it, well, you know how the plan works. If you don't like it, you're going to have to go live in New Jersey, which is something I don't want to do. But at the same time, if it comes down to my safety and that there's nowhere safe for me left to live on this island, then I'm going to have absolutely no choice. I will have to go live in New Jersey because, again, if I can't find a safe place to live here and my neighborhood gets more and more dangerous and I can't get into the enclaves on the South Shore, then I'm out of here. And there's that, but I'm gonna complain the whole way. I'll tell you that. So that's gonna be it for this video here. And again, I'm gonna definitely want to watch this whole debate here. And when I have more time, we'll go over it a little more in details. This is the link to the whole debate here. I'll have the links below if you want to watch. But Hochul is just really she's horrible. I mean, I almost said I didn't want to say D word, but she just seems like she is just really, 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 really snobby. I've never seen anyone in political office act so snobby. She reminds me, I guess, a lot of Nancy Pelosi, who's also very snobby. That is the last thing we need. She is going to price each and every one of us out of New York. Remember when she blew off Charlton about the subway safety? She doesn't give a damn about people who take the subway. She doesn't give a damn about the disabled. The only people she cares about is herself and her own kind. And that's what you're going to get if she gets reelected. And me and many, many other people are going to be pushed out of New York. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching.